in whatever you do, the first thing that they want on you is, do you have competence? And you know that competence are being verified by credentials in the form of your certificate. So that's what they prioritize in order to do something. Is, are you qualified to do it? Have you trained for it? Now, in the kingdom, we ask different questions. We ask the question of purpose before the question of skill. Is this aligned to your destiny that God has created and put within your heart? You know, there are certain skillful areas where you are so skillful, but when you do such things, you still don't get fulfillment. There are a lot of people who die and who lose their purpose and who their life becomes so distracted because they were only used an index of how much money can I get out of a thing, rather than checking, will it fulfill me? Is it aligned to my passion? Will I grow in this? Will it help me to become, to drive towards the world of my dreams without suffocating any of my ideals and any of my values? Hello and welcome to Expansion Revolution Nuggets. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to be bringing this good news to you. We are sitting on the principles of redeeming the time because the days are evil. One of the things that should always correspond with the difficult times in your life is to make sure that you manage your time very well and you use it on the things that are building your life and helping you to become better. Time is the most important commodity requisite for our success, and at the same time, time is the only commodity that if you waste, you have no one else to provide it to you again. And therefore, the only unique characteristic of managing time well is to redeem it. Today, we are looking at principle number 6, which is what we want to apply in order for us to manage our time very well. I want to borrow this principle from the book of 1 Corinthians, and it is found in chapter number 9. And I am reading verse number 26. It says, "So I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing." Now, one of the people who wasted a lot of time in life is the Apostle Paul, who, as you know, became one of the successful tenants of the New Testament by writing a lot of books and giving a lot of information that we needed spiritually in order for us to grow. But I think if you study the life of Paul, you will recognize that the guy wasted a lot of time studying a lot of other things. By the time he came to ministry, he had to run rather than walk because part of his time was already gone. So he helped us to understand a very important concept in dealing with time, that it's limited for us to fulfill our purpose. And I want to call this principle the principle of purpose, that purpose should always precede everything that you do. Purpose should be the why of the journey. Purpose should be the defining aspect of your life. When we ask you why you do what you do and why you behave the way you do and why you engage where you are engaging, it should be because it is aligned with purpose. The secular world as it is now has defined a lot of things wrongly, and majority of us just follow them. If you understand the corporate world or the bureaucratic model of life as we understand it, one of the things that it prioritizes is the priority of skill or competencies, so that in whatever you do, the first thing that they want on you is, do you have competence? And you know that competence are being verified by credentials in the form of your certificate. So that's what they prioritize in order to do something. Is, are you qualified to do it? Have you trained for it? Now, in the kingdom, we ask different questions. We ask the question of purpose before the question of skill. Is this aligned to your destiny that God has created and put within your heart? You know, there are certain skillful areas where you are so skillful, but when you do such things, you still don't get fulfillment. But when you operate in your purpose is able to fulfill you and help you drive towards the life of your destiny. So that's why purpose is important because it brings about fulfillment. Skill is important, but most of the time skill is measured by its ability to reward you, especially financially. And I'm not undermining the power of the skill, but I'm saying you need to know how to practice what we call the double PS rule, which is purpose, passion, and skill in that order. So purpose precedes passion, passion precedes skill. In other words, if you ask me, how can I order my life? Find your purpose, find your area of passion, and align your skill with your area of passion, and align your area of passion with the area of your purpose. When you are aligned that way, you are likely to become more efficient and more proficient in what you are doing, because there's an alignment between three aspects of your life: the purpose, passion, and competency area, which is represented by your skill. I know, and this is so important to me, because I've also wasted a little bit of time before I could come into full-time ministry, thinking about some other things that I thought they were more important. I worked in the public service, I worked in the private sector. I have to run my own company at a particular time, but it was the thinking that, you know, I need to push up my life, I need to push that, and so that in case I go to ministry, maybe I've pushed some other things. But now I recognize I lost time there, and I should have always prioritized God's purpose over my life rather than my own passion and my own skill. I mean, I'm slightly multi-skilled in a lot of things, and I've always had a very strong work ethic in doing things, and it's important. If you ask me now, I recognize I've wasted time, and I have a little time here to impact the kingdom, and, you know, to win souls to God, and to drive people that I need to drive towards their destiny and towards their God-given goal. It is my mandate that God has put in my life. So learn the art of prioritizing your purpose over money and over your skill. It is important. Not every open door is an opportunity. I think that is important. One of the things that leads us, and I've said this to some of my friends, I used to run the red race, and I am now out of that game, is to recognize not every opportunity that comes with lots of money is God's idea and is God's plan for your life. Some of the open doors you need to ignore and ask yourself questions. Are they aligned to your purpose? Can they help you to drive towards the will of God? Not every opportunity is good for you. And I know nowadays we are becoming so secularized that majority of us make decisions regarding where to work, regarding how to change your jobs, regarding who to marry based on money and access. Sometimes you need to ask yourself, is this aligned to my purpose? I mean, it is very important, as those of you who are saved, who are born again, who are led by the Spirit, you should not be making your decisions based on how much money you would get. It should be, is this decision aligned to my purpose? Is this decision aligned to my passion? Not only can this decision bring money. There are a lot of people who die and who lose their purpose and who their life becomes so distracted because they were only used an index of how much money can I get out of a thing, rather than checking, will it fulfill me? Is it aligned to my passion? Will I grow in this? Will it help me to become, to drive towards the world of my dreams without suffocating any of my ideals and any of my values? Learn to pray about your decision. Not every door is a blessing. Not every invitation is a blessing. Not every opportunity that seems to be a low-hanging fruit is good for you. Ask yourself questions of purpose before you decide to go on a journey. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time in wrong areas with wrong people, and by the time you wake up, you recognize time has gone. Align every decision that you make with purpose. Does it speak to my purpose? Does it speak to my passion? And does it speak to the type of skills and competencies that I have, so that when I do it, I can do it at the highest level of my ability? Or if I don't have the ability, I can therefore go and learn the skill. You see, the problem with this is that passion can be developed, skill can be learned, but purpose comes from your Creator. And it's your duty and your assignment to look for it and find it so that you can fulfill it. I think this is powerful. Share this with people in your life, especially those who sometimes are hanging around not knowing what to do, confused about that, those who don't get, fulfillment from that job, and they change that, they go to school, they do that, they don't know what they do. Most of the time they're dealing with the question of purpose, and the question of purpose comes from your heart aligned with God's word and aligned with your calling and your destiny that you have. Please share this broadcast, share this podcast. Let's ensure that people in your life get to know about what we are doing here, and make sure that before you go, you click the subscription, and you also like, and you also click the notification bell so that next time we can come back to you. Remember, we now have a feedback email at oj@ojmatiba.com. Let us know how you feel about this podcast and how we can impact your life better.